Hello everyone, welcome to Startup Academy. So, in today's lecture, we shall be talking about the new topic related to your geography. So, for today, we shall be discussing about the water resources. You can write the name of the unit as water resources. When we say water and its resources, water is something a natural thing, like it is coming from the nature itself. Therefore, when we talk about its resources, they are mostly termed to be as natural, though we get some water after storage from the artificial sources as well. But when we talk about the water and its resources or water resources, we will always say that water, it is a natural source. So, in order to define a term, we can say water resources as, we can say that it is a natural source of water. Like, it can be of various type. We already know its types, so it can be of various types. Like, we can say dark blue color. It can be, say, river, your lake, glaciers, streams, etc. and so on. So these could be included in your types. Now, when we say that water, we have studied about its definition. This is the general definition you must be knowing. And here we have, these are its type. What is the need of water and what is the need of resources? So when we talk in terms of need, we can talk in terms of need as well, which says that for agriculture purposes, we can talk in terms of industrial development, and of course for human consumption. These are the basic things that we require. Therefore, why are we talking about these things when we know that these things are there? Like we say that earth has 71% of water. Out of 100 we have 71% of water. Still we need to conserve it, we need to manage it, we need to prevent its pollution. Why? Because only, talking in terms of percentage, only 3% of water is useful. What about rest of the water is not even available for us to use because it is in ocean, and ocean water is highly poisonous to human beings, even for their consumption, for their uses or any other purposes. Why? Because it contains large amount of dissolved salts and other impurities which are not good for human health. That's why we say that only 3% of water is available for human consumption of, say, human uses. When we say that only 3% is available, therefore we need to say that this 3% needs to be saved. And how come this 3% will be saved? So in order to save water, we need water treatment plants. Water treatment plants, we need to prevent water pollution. And what do we need to do? We need to save water, reuse water, or we can say full fill the amount of groundwater already used. So this is whole about the mind map, what we shall be studying in this lecture. First we shall be talking about the definition, then its types, And what is the need? We will be focusing on the need as well. After focusing on the need, how can we manage the water and its resources, and why is there a need to manage its resources? This is whole we shall be discussing. So, coming to the video, starting, we'll do with the introduction. We say, what is water? Water, we all know that it is a fundamental resource essential for sustaining life, economic development, and environmental stability. Then, what is, why it is so helpful, why it is so needed? It is needed because for industrial purposes, agricultural purposes, human consumption as well. So that is all it is mentioned over here. Despite abundance of water on earth, accessible fresh water resources are limited. As I've told you, even though there is 71% of water, still we what we can avail is only the 3%, that is in the glaciers and all those. The concept of water resources include all the resources of the water that are potentially useful to human beings, including the surface water, groundwater, and the glaciers and atmospheric water vapor. When we talk about the global distribution, since you all are great statisticians, these terms you can learn. Coming on to the distribution, what does it show? It says that 97% of water is found in Indian, sorry, not Indian, actually, the earthly sources like oceans and seas. Then we have the fresh water, only 2.7%, and glaciers, ice caps have 68% of fresh water. And we have groundwater, like 30% of fresh water is there, and surface water is even less than 1%. The distribution shows that only a small portion of water is directly available for human use, which makes conservation and efficient management of water resources extremely important. Like we have discussed in our mind map कि कैसे कैसे even though 71% availability is there, only 3% is useful. That's why these things are to be done, like management has to be done or taken care of. Coming on to the next one, that is the hydrological cycle, or say the water cycle. So let's talk about water cycle first. When we say water cycle, we all have studied about this water cycle in our junior classes. So from that also you must be having certain sort of things or clarities in your mind. If there is any difficulty to understand, so let us understand it in a very simple way by not including more scientific terms, because you are not science students, though things are to be mentioned, but still we shall not be making things very complex. So starting with this whole, say, you do not need to just draw the diagram, you can just simply understand. What happens is there's a sunny day. On a sunny day, there's a river flowing. Wherever there will be river would be flowing. The sun's rays will come down on this water and will heat the water up. Once the heating of the water starts, what will happen? This will get converted, this water gets converted into vapors because of heating effect. And once these vapors have been generated due to the heating effect of the sun, what will happen? They will start moving upwards. Once they start moving upwards, this process is known as evaporation. Now these were nothing but the small drops. These were like bubbles, we can say, or drops, we can say. Once there are small drops like this, these small drops, they all combine together. Now they are in the sky. Now what they will do? They will all combine together to form what? To form a cloud. All the drops come together to form a cloud. This is a chemical process in a simple language. All drops, like vapors, are combining together to form a cloud. Now, once the cloud starts forming, sun is still there. It is still heating. Vapors are still going. Evaporation is still in the process. Once the evaporation takes place and cloud has been formed, the water from this will still go up and is still going. It goes and turns the cloud into a bigger cloud up till the cloud holds the limit. Will have a certain limit, will have an accommodation for only specified number of drops. But here the continuous heating is there and continuous evaporation is there, due to which what is happening, the cloud is getting filled and filled with the drops, or we can say the water from the river due to the process of evaporation. Now what will happen after the ultimate formation of the cloud? After the ultimate formation of the cloud, what will happen? This cloud will say, now stop, I need to empty myself. In order to empty itself, what will cloud do? Cloud will let these raindrops fall down, and the process of falling down the rainfall, and the process of letting these cloud empty their drops is known as condensation. This is your second process. And when they reaches the earth's surface, when they reaches the earth's surface in form of either rain, or you can say any form, that form is known as your precipitation. That form is known as your precipitation. Precipitation could be anything. It could be rain, it could be haze, it could be dew, it could be anything like coming from the sky or heaven above. So that could be anything. So three processes we have seen, and that is why what will happen, these will again enter the water, and again the same thing will happen. Similarly, what is happening here, we have mountains with certain sort of ice over here. Here are mountains with certain sort of ice over here. What will happen? The sun's rays will let it melt. Melting will start. Once the melting start, then melting of the glacier starts. What will happen? These will reach down the earth's surface via process called flowing. So this is whole about the cycle. They are dropping, and again the process is starting and forming and starting and forming. Things are going in a cyclic manner, hence this is known as a cycle. I hope in a very simple and clear terms we have understood what is water cycle. Now coming to its specific terms that we shall be studying in this hydrological cycle they say, or you can also say water cycle. Also one more thing is happening over here, one more thing is happening. What happens is, when rain will come, it is not necessary that rain will directly reach into the into this water only, like river water only. It can also reach to the ground. Once the rain reaches the ground, it will seep through the soil. Seeping through the soil, it will fulfill what? It will fulfill the amount of groundwater that the human beings have already extracted. So filling of groundwater shall also occur. Groundwater by by water seeping through the soil, the rainwater itself. Okay. So coming to our terms now. Okay, we have hydrological cycle or the water cycle, that means the circulation of water between the atmosphere, land, and oceans, like we have just seen, driven by solar energy, gravity, and plays vital role in maintaining the water balance. Water balance is continuously being balanced because of the water cycle. Then, what are the terms? First is evaporation, like liquid is converted into vapors. For transpiration, that is from plants also. The same thing is happening from plants itself. The leaves of the plants are releasing water. From the leaves itself, the water is being released from the plants, and that water is being converted into vapors and directly reaching to the clouds to form the clouds by the process known as condensation. Then we have the condensation, that is water vapor forming the clouds is known as what? Condensation. Then we have the precipitation, like falling, getting that waterfall, reaching back either in snowfall, sleet, haze, or dew, or any other form like rain could be also there. So that is what your precipitation means. Then we have infiltration, downward movement of water into the soil, like we have just seen in this. Downward movement of water into the soil is what it is known as infiltration. Filling of the ground level is infiltration. Moving of water into the vapor phase is your evaporation. Formation of cloud is your condensation, and coming back of water is your precipitation. Then we have runoff, movement of water over land into rivers And oceans, what is happening? What if the land water over here is here, and land water just flows via river or via, we can say, streams in order to reach a larger water body? So that is also a part of water cycle. Then we have the types of resources. When we say the types of water resources, we always talk about the surface water and the groundwater majorly. When the surface water is said, the surface water, that is the water that you can see by your eyes. It could be a reservoir, it could be a stream, river, lake, canal, it could be anything. Then we have the rivers are the most significant source of fresh water. Lakes act as natural reservoirs, and wetlands maintain the biodiversity and ecological balance. What happens is, when we talk in terms of wetlands, wetlands are basically the places where biodiversity is maintained. Like natural water as a natural resource would be there, the stored water would be there, and there would be species of the birds, there would be species of the plants. So they all are secured by the government or any other side it could be. So that is what we talk in terms of wetland. Then comes our groundwater. Groundwater is the water stored beneath the earth's surface. Why? Via process known as infiltration, mentioned in your water cycle. So it is a geographical formation known as aquifers. It is accessed through wells, tube wells, and springs. We use groundwater majorly in the agriculture purposes, and you must have seen the use of springs and tube wells, and we have also discussed about these things when we have talked about the agriculture chapter. Groundwater is less prone to evaporation. Why? Because it is beneath the earth's surface where the sun's energy could not reach that much. And if they try to reach as well, there is no, we can say, there is no space for water to form vapors. It is naturally filtered by soil layers. However, excess extraction has led to falling water tables in many regions. Then we have the glacier water. Glacier water says that the large masses of ice that store enormous quantities of water, that means large quantities of water is stored, fresh water is stored in the glacier water. Sometimes when glacier melt, people say that the flood system has come or we are drowning, so that things also occur. Then we come to water resources in India. How many water resources are available in India? So talking about them, we say that hmm, India receives approximately 4,000 billion cubic meters BCM of precipitation annually. If you will mention these figures with constant terms and their units, you tend to secure good marks. However, due to evaporation, runoff, and other factors, only about 1123 BCM, BCM is billion cubic meters, is considered utilizable water. The monsoon climate results in seasonable and uneven distribution of water resources. India is largest user of groundwater in the world. Though our limit, our tables, ground level tables are degrading every now and then, still we are using them. But in order to fulfill them, we have also the water management plants, though they have recently been discovered, therefore the limit has not yet met. Major uses of water, we all know we use it for industrial purposes, agriculture purposes, and for domestic purposes also. Also, we have studied about the renewable sources of energy in which we were using hydrological power or hydropower or hydroelectricity. So, in that purpose also, we can use that is for energy production. Water scarcity, we say that 71% of water is there, still water scarcity is there. Why? Because we have just read that only 3% is available for human consumption, and rest of the water is not useful to us. Another thing, we have large amount of population, and population is increasing rapidly. Therefore, in order to feed large amount of population, both industrial and agriculture, all the things have excavated water, due to which there is large consumption of water than required or than utilizable. Then we have urbanization and industrial expansion, because people are expanding everywhere. Therefore, urbanization is also taking place, and the process of urbanization leads to the industrial development. Due to this development, what is happening? There is large use of water every now and then. Over exploitation of groundwater resources, as we have just read that there is depletion or degradation of the water resources like the groundwater level tables. Climate change is also altering the rainfall patterns. Why? Because of the global warming. Then we have pollution, reducing availability of clean water. Water is being managed. Treatment plants we have already installed. Power plants are also there. But still, large amount of water is being wasted and only a small portion of water is being clean. So, the ratio is quite high for which the dirty water and the clean water. So, the ratio is quite high. That's why we are not able to maintain or we are not able to pace up with the rapidity. Then we have water pollution. How is water pollution happening? So there are certain causes which lead to water pollution. Like first of all, industries are being there. Industries will release effluents, and those effluents will then directly be released into the water body. That will be affecting our, we can say, our natural system of water. So that is the one thing. Also, when we talk about the Minamoto disease that was found in Japan due to the poisoning of mercury, so that was one of the basic feature of toxicity. Like that was the extent of toxicity that has been resulted in the history. So that is one thing. Another thing is when oil fields are being taken, or when the oil has to be taken or transported, we use water. What happens is water is there, oil will also be there, so they are non-polarizable mixes or non-miscible liquids. They will not get mixed together. Once they are not mixed together, the two layers are formed. The oil layer being above will not allow the oxygen, will not allow the water, or like we can say the sun's energy to reach the plant life or the marine life that resides inside the water. That's why the bacterial, fungi, and all these things will get accumulated. So that is another thing. Then we have agricultural runoff. Like whenever the farmer uses his or her, whenever farmer spread, or we can say injects fertilizers or pesticides in his farm in order to protect the crops, what will happen if the rain comes? Rain will seep that all water, and that water will either seep directly into the soil by destroying the groundwater, or that will be carried away to the nearest water body that will be containing all the chemicals, fertilizers, and pesticides and all. That is why the pollution shall impact the marine life in that, or the people consuming that particular water. Then we have untreated domestic sewage entering rivers. There are certain areas where there is a sewage, large amount of sewage that is not meeting the treatment plant. Instead, that is being carried on forward by collecting even more sewage, and that is reaching the natural body, which is affecting it badly. Oil spills and marine pollution that we have just discussed. Then we have the water conservation. Since water is our need, basic need it is less available, and also we are polluting it at very high rate. Therefore, the conservation need is there. So, rainwater harvesting to capture rainfall. There are certain areas or places where there are tubes. What happens is the tubes are there on the, we can say, on the uh, terrace of certain, we can say, the houses or huts. What happens is they collect that water. There's a long storage process. Due to the connection of the pipes and tubes, they collect that water, and that water, those pipes and tubes are made up of bamboo, and that can be collected and directly stored and can be used in the season where there is less rainfall or whenever required. So that is what rainwater harvesting is. Then watershed management to conserve soil and water. What will happen if large amount of water will come? Then we also need to take care that floods are not there. So that also need to be taken care of. Efficient irrigation systems such as drip and sprinkler instead of using tube well drain large amount of water from the ground level, therefore depleting the ground tables. They spread large amount of water only at a specified area, so that leads to clogging leads to generation of various other organisms that can lead to infectants, or we can say that malaria can also be there, or certain other diseases could also be spread. So instead of using that, we can use sprinkler, we can use drip irrigation where only drop will be used, and the certain specified amount and the limited amount of the drops shall be taken by the plants. And in the sprinkler one, again the drops would be there and less amount of water shall be used, only the amount of water that is required by the plants. So therefore both the needs shall be met. Recycling and reusing the wastewater. So this is how you can conserve wastewater, and there is also a need to conserve wastewater. Then we have PYQs over here are also there. So discussion of PYQ could be, okay, the first one says discuss the major challenges associated with the water resource management in India, explain hydrological cycle and its role in maintaining the global water balance, examine the causes of groundwater depletion in India and suggest solutions, discuss the importance of rainwater harvesting in water conservation. So all these 4 points are the questions you can find in the PDF itself. You can write your answers, you can share them with us on either Telegram channel or our WhatsApp, because YouTube shall not be supporting such long answers. So that is one thing. Okay, let's talk about conclusion. Sustainable management of water resources is essential for ensuring long-term water security. So these are the basic lines that you can mention. You can write them in your own terms, or you can use these specific scientific terms while framing your answers. So this was all about water resources, water cycle. I hope everything is clear. If you still face any difficulty to understand either of the topic or any term, you can ask in the comment section. Till then, stay blessed and keep watching.
Startup Academy presents Lakshya 2027, an exclusive batch designed only for serious ISS aspirants.